In the sleepy town of Ravenswood, nestled in the heart of rural America, a sinister plot was unfolding behind closed doors. In 2018, a series of bizarre events shook the community to its core, leaving residents bewildered and authorities baffled. But what they didn't know was that their quiet lives were being manipulated by a cabal of influential individuals, hidden in plain sight. For decades, Ravenswood had been touted as one of the safest towns in the country, with a reputation for friendly locals and wholesome values. However, beneath this idyllic facade lay a complex web of deceit and corruption that threatened to destroy the very fabric of the community. As we delve deeper into the forgotten files, you'll discover how this seemingly ordinary town became a hotbed of intrigue and deception. The first signs of trouble emerged in 2015, when a local journalist named Sarah Jenkins began investigating strange anomalies in the town's financial records. Her probes exposed a shocking truth: millions of dollars had been siphoned from the town's coffers into a series of shell companies controlled by influential locals. At the helm of this operation was none other than James Parker, a charismatic business magnate with ties to some of the country's most powerful politicians. According to Jenkins' research, Parker and his associates exploited loopholes in local tax laws to launder funds through these shell companies. The scheme, dubbed Operation Phoenix, allowed them to accumulate staggering profits while leaving the town's economy on life support. As we'll see later, this was merely the tip of the iceberg, a mere symptom of a far more sinister disease. At the heart of Ravenswood's power structure were several influential figures, each with their own agendas and motivations. There was James Parker, as mentioned earlier, Thomas Brooks, a shrewd businessman with connections to international trade, and Rachel Lee, a cunning politician who wielded significant influence within the town council. These individuals formed an informal network of power brokers, pulling strings from behind the scenes to control key aspects of Ravenswood's economy. They manipulated policies, influenced law enforcement, and even orchestrated events to further their own interests. It was as if they had created a parallel government, operating in tandem with the official one but accountable to no one. Their web of influence stretched far beyond the town limits, however. Parker, for instance, had ties to prominent Washington politicians, while Brooks maintained close relationships with key players in the global trade community. Lee's connections within the state capital allowed her to push through legislation favorable to Ravenswood's elite. This intricate network was crucial to understanding the true nature of Operation Phoenix, a scheme that would come to haunt Ravenswood for years to come. As we delve deeper into the story, it becomes clear that several individuals played pivotal roles in Ravenswood's descent into chaos. There was Alex Thompson, a charismatic young entrepreneur who somehow managed to charm his way past the town's financial regulations; Emily Patel, a bright and ambitious accountant whose diligence helped uncover some of the most disturbing evidence; and Rachel Jenkins herself, the brave journalist who risked everything to expose the truth. These individuals faced harassment, intimidation, and even physical threats from those who sought to silence them. Yet they persevered, driven by a fierce determination to reveal the truth behind Ravenswood's mysterious financial woes. One of the most striking examples of this resistance came in 2019, when Emily Patel discovered a hidden ledger detailing millions of dollars funneled into secret accounts controlled by Parker and his associates. This damning evidence put pressure on local authorities to act, but would it be enough to stop the rot that had consumed Ravenswood? As our investigation deepens, we find ourselves entangled in a labyrinthine web of deceit and misdirection. James Parker and his cohorts spun intricate webs of lies, using their considerable influence to deflect suspicion. They created shell companies, used offshore accounts, and even enlisted the services of top-tier lawyers to cover their tracks. Meanwhile, the town's officials looked on, seemingly oblivious to the chaos unfolding around them. Local law enforcement was either complicit or inept, failing to investigate these anomalies despite growing evidence of wrongdoing. It wasn't until a young journalist named Olivia Martin began digging into the story that the full extent of Ravenswood's troubles became clear. Her research revealed a staggering $300 million had been siphoned from the town over just 3 years, funds meant for essential services, used instead to enrich those at the top of Ravenswood's power structure. This colossal heist was merely one aspect of Operation Phoenix, a vast and intricate scheme that involved dozens of shell companies, hundreds of fake invoices, and thousands of false accounting entries. Ravenswood's residents had grown accustomed to the town's tranquil atmosphere, but beneath the surface, something was terribly wrong. People spoke in hushed tones about the strange occurrences and the feeling that something was watching from just out of sight. It wasn't until the full extent of Operation Phoenix became public knowledge that the true horror came into focus. Residents began to speak out, sharing their own stories of exploitation and abuse. They described being pressured into mortgages they couldn't afford, forced into business ventures with impossible repayment terms, or even coerced into investing in shell companies. This was no ordinary case of financial malfeasance, it was a calculated campaign of emotional manipulation, designed to keep the town's most vulnerable citizens under control. This eerie feeling of being trapped and watched became known as the silent scream. It's as if Ravenswood's residents were living in a state of collective hypnosis, unaware of the sinister forces controlling their lives. But with each new revelation, this fog began to lift, exposing the dark truth behind the town's most influential figures. In the aftermath of Operation Phoenix's exposure, Ravenswood faced a crisis that would test its very foundations. Dozens of individuals were charged with various crimes, including money laundering and racketeering. James Parker, Thomas Brooks, and Rachel Lee among them, their reputations in tatters as they stood trial. However, even with the guilty parties brought to justice, questions persisted about the full extent of Ravenswood's troubles. How many more shell companies existed? What other secrets lay hidden behind closed doors? These unanswered queries hinted at a far larger conspiracy, one that threatened not just Ravenswood but entire communities across America. As we conclude this journey into the heart of darkness, remember, these are no mere statistics or dry financial records, they're stories of lives shattered by greed and corruption. In the forgotten files, we find echoes of our own vulnerability, a reminder that even in the most idyllic settings, horrors can lurk just beneath the surface. The story of Ravenswood serves as a warning: beware those who hide behind closed doors, their power structures built upon deceit and manipulation. Remember the faces of those caught up in Operation Phoenix: Alex Thompson, Emily Patel, Rachel Jenkins, and Olivia Martin, each one fighting to expose the truth against impossible odds. As we close this chapter on Ravenswood's dark history, let us not forget the lessons learned, that true power lies not with those at the top but with those who dare speak out.